This Type S badge used to belong on sporty Acura models such as the CL, the TL, the RSX, or Integra as it's known in other markets, and the TLX. But now it's on the back of the MDX. So does this mean that now the Type S badge is nothing more than just a ploy from the marketing department to try and sell more of these MDXs? Or do you actually get more performance with this little badge? Let's go for a drive and find out. Let me throw some numbers your way. Horsepower, 355. Torque, 354 pound-feet. Weight, 2,169 kilos. I know it's a little bit of a heavy boy, but 0 to 100 kilometers an hour, or about 62 miles an hour, is 5.5 seconds. So what's making all of that oomph under the hood of the MDX Type-S? Well, it's not the same 3.5 liter V6 that we're all accustomed to. It is still a V6, but it is now a 3 liter V6, and it has a bit of help from a twin scroll turbocharger. Just one turbo, not two. And if you don't know what a twin scroll turbocharger is, basically it has one port that is fed by half of the engine cylinders, exhaust gases that is, and the other half is fed through a different port. And what that allows it is to spool up very quickly for faster response times. That peak torque figure that I told you about is reached at just 1400 RPMs, and it's sustained all the way up to 5000 RPMs. The torque curve is pretty much flat. So when you're just driving around town, this engine is actually really responsive, and you don't need to really rev the heck out of it to get the most out of it. Also, I can't help but notice how interesting the packaging is in this engine bay. So obviously the thing that really catches my eye is the coolant reservoir. It does have its own heat shield, and the turbocharger itself has its own heat shield, but I still can't help but notice that when you're really pushing the Type S MDX, that turbocharger is going to get really, really hot. So hopefully the coolant reservoir doesn't overheat either. Another interesting design is with the front grille. In other MDXs, the little diamond shapes are filled, but in this one, they're actually hollow. And what that allows is for more air to pass through it, up here, through this little diverter in the hood and straight into the airbox. So a lot of clever engineering went into this engine bay to make it all work with the turbocharger. The only thing that I don't like about this engine is the way that it sounds, or rather, lack of sound. That exhaust really mutes this engine. And if you do put the car into Sport Plus mode, then some fake engine noises do get pumped through the audio system. However, it would just be nice if the exhaust was a little bit louder so you can actually hear this turbocharged V6. This being a more sporty oriented trim of the MDX, the fuel economy does take a little bit of a hit compared to the standard MDX. Officially, this Acura MDX Type-S is rated for 13.8 liters per 100 kilometers in a city and 11.2 liters per 100 kilometers on a highway. Currently, I am averaging about 13.2 liters per 100 kilometers, so it's actually not too bad. You can actually achieve those fuel economy targets. Paired with this engine is a 10-speed automatic transmission, but it has been beefed up to take the punishment and the extra power of this V6. It also shifts 40% more quickly in Sport Plus mode than the other standard 10-speed automatic that you get with the MDX. As well, these paddle shifters actually react pretty quickly, and I like that. It's really responsive. In everyday city driving situations, the shifts between gears are really smooth and it reacts pretty quickly to a stab of the throttle. The MDX Type-S comes standard with SH all-wheel drive, or super handling all-wheel drive. This is a front-biased all-wheel drive system, but Acura's clever engineers have done wonders to reduce the amount of understeer a system like this naturally induces. In the Type S, the SH all-wheel drive can send up to 70% of the engine's torque to the rear wheels and up to 100% of that to either wheel when driving through a corner. The result is real torque vectoring, which can better rotate the big SUV around twists and turns. The 2022 MDX Type-S also benefits from adaptive and air suspension, a first for Acura. This air suspension system can dynamically limit more body roll through corners and more quickly settle the body after a big bump or road undulation. There's also the added benefit of raising the car when you find yourself on rougher terrain. Thanks to the new air ride suspension, the MDX Type S is actually pretty comfortable when you drive it around city streets. Of course, it does have 21-inch wheels and really low profile tires, so you're not going to get away from the fact that you will still feel those bumps and potholes and manhole covers. But the air suspension does a good job of making those potholes and manhole covers feel not quite as harsh when you drive over them. Further aiding to the comfort are the seats. Not only are they supportive and comfortable and plush, but they're also pretty adjustable. So they have thigh support, they have lumbar adjustment, and you can also adjust the side bolsters. And on top of all that, they're also massaging, and they have quite a few massage programs to choose from. Now looking at the inside of the MDX Type S, it's actually pretty hard to tell that you're in a special version of the MDX. The only way that I can tell that this is a Type S is by this little badge on the steering wheel. Apart from that, everything else looks almost identical to the standard version of the MDX. Right in front of me is a contoured steering wheel, which is really nice to the touch and to hold on to. Beyond that is a full digital display. The infotainment system is the same one that is used throughout all current Acura models, and it is controlled by this touchpad on the center console. If you don't know about it, this is what Acura calls a true touchpad interface. And what that means is wherever you touch on the pad, say top right corner, then the top right item gets selected, or I should say highlighted, on the infotainment screen. It takes quite a while to get used to the system, but after, again, said long while, your brain does get used to it and it becomes muscle memory. However, if you plan on using Apple CarPlay or Android Auto, which is wireless by the way with this infotainment system, then this touchpad reverts to a more laptop style touchpad. So you're constantly just swiping to try and select the item that you want. It's really frustrating to use if you use those apps. Apart from that, the center console is, like I said, almost identical to all other versions of the MDX. So your drive mode selector is right in the center, and you have physical buttons for your climate controls. And you also get gloss black plastics, which will attract dust and fingerprints and scratches. As for space, for my 6'4" height, legroom, I can't complain, and headroom, again, I can't complain because there is plenty of it. Visibility out the front, out the side, and even out the back is also really good. The second row seats have just enough legroom behind my driving position for someone as tall as myself. Those seats can slide forwards and backwards and recline. Also, you can remove the center seat for a pass-through. The third row, however, is only to be used by children. Legroom and headroom is extremely tight for an adult, even an average height adult, never mind someone as tall as me. But getting into the back is super easy because there's a button at the bottom of the second row seat. Push it and the seat springs into its most forward position. Further behind the third row, the trunk has quite a bit of cargo capacity. 513 liters with all rows of seats up, 1,368 liters with the third row folded, and 2,690 liters with the second and third rows folded. There's also a pretty sizable compartment underneath the floor that will easily fit a backpack and camera equipment. The 2022 Acura MDX Type-S can be yours for $79,000 Canadian. This demo vehicle is the Ultra trim level, which will cost you $83,000 Canadian. In the United States, this is called the Advanced Package. For the money, this MDX Type-S is fully loaded with everything in the Acura features catalog. Leather upholstery, heated, ventilated, and massaging front seats, heated second row seats, panoramic sunroof, programmable power liftgate, surround view cameras, satellite navigation, wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, ELS 3D audio system, wireless phone charging, and the list just goes on and on. The base trim of the Acura MDX receives all of the available standard and advanced safety systems, except for low-speed emergency braking. Moving up a trim will get you that feature. So the MDX Type-S already has all of the available safety features to keep you and your family safe. The IIHS also thinks that this is a safe SUV, which is why it was awarded with a Top Safety Pick Plus. It received good scores throughout every test that they conducted. So the Acura MDX Type-S sits in its own little bubble of the luxury three-row SUV segment. It doesn't really have that many competitors. There is the Mercedes-Benz GLE 450, but that one's focused more on luxury rather than driving dynamics. The BMW X5, yeah, that one's closer, but once you start adding on the packages and the options, it's a lot more expensive than this. The only one that I can really think of that comes close to offering the same performance and value as this is maybe the Genesis GV80 with that twin-turbo V6. But to me, that one is still a little bit more on the luxury side of things rather than the sporty driving dynamic side of things. So if that's what you're after and you want to get a good value for your money, this is a really good car. And if you want to know more about this 2022 Acura MDX Type-S, I wrote a more detailed review of it over on my website. You can find that link in the video description or click on the pop-up banner right up here. And as always, I will see you in the next car or truck or most likely another SUV. Anyway, thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.